Jack, let's bring you in at this stage. Do you think they would have been wise to stay indoors this weekend?
I mean, I do see what she's saying, but I don't feel that where they are, they need to be sort of locked away and hidden out of sight. I don't see why. He's in America. He's going by what the Americans are doing. He was wearing a poppy. I don't think anybody else was. From all the photos I've seen, I think he was the only one with a poppy on. Yes, they do have Veterans Day on the 11th. Obviously, we have Remembrance Day, but they in America tend to wear poppies. I think it's more on the Memorial Day, which is, I think, late May, if I'm right in saying. So Meghan was doing nothing wrong. Harry was doing nothing wrong. I mean, Harry wasn't out, on the 11th having a massive party. Harry's the only member of the royal family that's actually currently served in a war. So none of the other royal family have actually served. So I think if anything, Harry knows what he's doing more than most. He's been there. He's seen the conflict. He's seen what it's done to people. So I don't think that he would have sort of gone out thinking, "Oh, I don't really care about anything." He does care very much so. And knowing Harry, knowing how much he does care, I don't think that they have done anything. I mean, it was a Saturday night. He was invited to a party that they've said yes to attend to, and I'm sure people would have said, "Oh, what's the poppy all about? Why are you wearing it now?" And he would have had that conversation. So, if anything, he's actively showing that he was wearing the poppy, and he can actively talk about what's going on here in England.
Jack drops the mic. Charlotte Griffiths roasted for blaming Meghan over a poppy. In a twist that could only happen in the chaotic circus of royal commentary, British tabloids found themselves humiliated this week when royal commentator Jack Stooks single-handedly dismantled the relentless noise coming from Charlotte Griffiths, the self-appointed queen of Blame Meghan headlines. Yes, Charlotte, the same commentator who never misses a chance to weaponize a poppy pin or a harmless dinner appearance, was verbally roasted and fact-checked live when Jack decided to speak the kind of truth that tabloids choke on. The issue? Meghan Markle didn't wear a poppy pin while attending a dinner event with Prince Harry. That's it. That's the scandal. The same woman who could cure world hunger would still somehow be accused of doing it for attention by the same crowd that sells her pictures for clicks. But this time, someone stood up and said, "Enough." Jack Stooks enters the chat, and the tabloids panic appearing on GB News. Jack Stooks didn't mince words. His voice calm but cutting, his message loud and clear. The couple did nothing wrong. No scandal, no disrespect, and certainly no reason for tabloids to foam at the mouth over a poppy pin. I don't feel that where they are, they need to be sort of locked away and hidden out of sight, Jack said pointedly, sending a message to critics who think Harry and Meghan should live in exile just to make the tabloids comfortable. I don't think anybody else was, from all the photos I've seen. I think he was the only one with a poppy on, he added. And there it was, the truth bomb. Prince Harry, the only member of the royal family who actually served in a war, wore his poppy proudly. Meghan didn't need to, and her choice not to wear one wasn't an act of rebellion, disrespect, or defiance. It was simply personal choice. Yet the tabloids went into meltdown mode, with Charlotte Griffiths leading the charge, fanning flames of fake outrage like it was her full-time job. Charlotte Griffiths and the great poppy drama of 2025. If tabloids could turn oxygen into drama, Charlotte Griffiths would be the CEO of Air. Her column, dripping with the usual snark, dressed up as concern for tradition, suggested Meghan had somehow disrespected Remembrance Day by not wearing a poppy. As if Meghan Markle, the woman who has spent years advocating for veterans, supporting families of service members, and working alongside her husband, a decorated veteran himself, needs a lesson in respect from a gossip writer. Charlotte wrote with her usual misplaced confidence, implying that if Meghan doesn't wear a poppy, she's anti-military. But when other royals skip public commemorations, they're protecting their privacy. The hypocrisy could power the entire national grid. And that's when Jack stepped in, the only adult in the GB News studio that evening. Meghan was doing nothing wrong. Harry was doing nothing wrong, he said, his tone unwavering. Harry wasn't out on the 11th having a massive party. He was showing quiet respect as he always does. The room went silent. Griffiths blinked. The tabloid crowd shuffled. Jack had spoken truth. Not the polished kind, but the kind that burns. Jack's roast, the calm that tore through the noise. You could almost hear the collective gasp of the royal gossip machine. Jack Stooks, a commentator unafraid to swim against the tide of tabloid manipulation, had broken the unspoken rule: never defend Meghan Markle publicly without facing wrath. But Jack didn't flinch. He reminded everyone of what British tabloids conveniently forget: Prince Harry's decade of service in the British Army, his 2 tours in Afghanistan, and his rank of captain. He reminded viewers that while other royals have been playing photo-op soldiers, Harry actually lived it. He flew helicopters. He saw the horrors of war. He served. And yet, the man who's actually worn the uniform is being lectured on how to honour the fallen by commentators who can't even tell the difference between respect and performative outrage. Jack's words echoed across social media. Boom, mic dropped. Charlotte's credibility evaporated faster than a clickbait headline. Public reaction: Team Jack versus Team Drama. Within hours, "Thank you Jack Stooks" trended on X, formerly Twitter, with thousands of royal watchers and veterans praising his courage to call out the nonsense. "Finally, someone with a brain and backbone," one user wrote. Another added, "Jack said what needed to be said. Meghan doesn't owe anyone an explanation for her lapel." Meanwhile, Griffiths' supporters scrambled to twist the narrative. Suddenly it was just an opinion, not meant to be critical, or taken out of context. But the internet doesn't forget. The receipts were there. The sneering, the tone, the headlines implying Meghan was once again the villain in a story that didn't need a villain. Only this time, she had a defender who wasn't afraid to call out the double standard. Harry and Meghan's grace under fire. Through it all, the Sussexes remained silent, dignified, and composed, as they always do when the storm rages. Harry, the man whose very life has been defined by service and sacrifice, continues to honour the fallen every year, whether in public or private. He doesn't need cameras to prove it. His record speaks for itself. And Meghan? She's long since learned that in the eyes of certain tabloids, her very existence is a provocation. Wear a poppy, she's seeking attention. Don't wear one, she's disrespectful. Speak, she's complaining. Stay silent, she's cold. There is no winning with people who refuse to see nuance. Jack Stooks understood that. And he said what millions were thinking, but couldn't say on air. Enough with the unfairness, the spin, and the character assassination disguised as commentary. Charlotte Griffiths, the self-appointed royal judge. For years, Charlotte Griffiths has turned royal watching into royal judging. She's made a career out of nitpicking Meghan's life choices as if they were state secrets. What she didn't expect was for someone from her own media circle to call her out, publicly, sharply, and brilliantly. Jack's defense wasn't just about Meghan and Harry. It was about decency, fairness, and truth, things that seemed to have gone missing in the British press's relentless quest to paint Meghan as the problem. He didn't yell, he didn't insult, he didn't sneer, he simply stated facts that hit harder than any headline. Harry served his country. Meghan did nothing wrong. And it's time people stopped pretending she did. The bigger picture, why this matters at first glance, it's easy to dismiss this as another Poppygate. But it goes deeper than that. Every time Meghan is attacked for breathing wrong, it reveals something ugly. Not about her, but about the people who profit from the negativity. Charlotte Griffiths' words weren't about respect or remembrance. They were about control. The tabloids can't stand that Harry and Meghan live freely, on their own terms, outside the invisible palace leash. By attacking them over something as trivial as a poppy pin, they expose just how desperate they are for any narrative that keeps Meghan in the headlines. Jack's intervention was more than a defence. It was a demand for sanity in a media environment addicted to outrage. Jack Stooks, the voice of reason, Britain didn't know it needed. In a sea of commentators competing for clicks, Jack stood out because he chose integrity over applause. He didn't need to shout to make his point. His tone was calm, his facts clear, and his message undeniable. That statement, simple yet revolutionary in today's royal coverage, became the quote of the night. And as Griffiths squirmed behind her carefully curated expressions, the internet cheered. Finally, a commentator who wasn't afraid to tell the truth. The roasting heard around Britain. By the next morning, media outlets were quietly walking back their stories. The outrage headlines softened. The drama died down. Because when truth enters the room, sensationalism loses its grip. Charlotte Griffiths may have thought she was delivering another easy hit piece. Instead, she got a public roasting that will go down in GB News history. Even tabloids that had gleefully piled on were forced to acknowledge Jack's point. Harry's the veteran. He wore the poppy. Meghan's support is unwavering. End of story. The double standard was laid bare, and the hypocrisy looked ridiculous in the daylight. Public memory has shifted. Weeks from now, people might forget the date of the event or the dinner they attended. But they'll remember Jack's truth. They'll remember how he refused to let the media twist respect into scandal. They'll remember how one man's calm truth silenced an entire tabloid narrative. And they'll remember that it takes courage to stand against the noise, especially when that noise is profitable. The final word. Charlotte Griffiths wanted another headline. She got one, just not the one she expected. Her attempt to shame Meghan over a pin turned into a national lesson on hypocrisy. Jack Stooks' steady defence turned into a viral moment of integrity. And the public? They saw through the nonsense. Harry and Meghan once again walked through the storm without saying a word, because when you know the truth, you don't need to shout. The British media may thrive on controversy, but this time, truth won. And for that, Jack Stooks deserves more than credit. He deserves a standing ovation.
And that wraps our daily diaries updates. Harry and Meghan. Always keep the world talking. And if you enjoy this update, do not forget to like, share, subscribe. And for more royalty served with honesty, just right here on Daily Diaries Friday. Till next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep shining. See you next time with more royal news and good vibe. Bye bye.